Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy practitioner. And we're still looking at the Kybalion. I'm doing a deep dive into mentalism because it's such a huge topic. There's no wonder that it's the foundation principle of the Kybalion of natural law, that the all is mind, the universe is mental, and what that actually means for us as creator beings and why the dark occult Luciferians would be so hell-bent on enslaving us and stripping us of our awareness of our abilities. And I'm just right now what I'm doing is I'm reading a lot of old books from the 1800s to maybe the 50s and 60s or so, looking for information that people used to have as common sense, since we don't have any of that anymore, thanks to the disruption of society. They've really done a good job. First, they destroyed the family by um, getting women to think it was a good idea to go to work. Not that it isn't, but some of us would prefer to just be community builders at home. And now the family unit is basically destroyed. That was the first, well, it wasn't the first, but it was in my lifetime one of the most important things that happened. And now how everything is so crazy, so dishonest, and so focused on materialism and basically de facto Satanism, meaning that everything is Satanism, but we're not saying that it's Satanism. But it's all about lying, cheating, and stealing to get yours, rather than how it used to be, where we relied on the Creator to provide, and then we were able to be in community with one another. That at least was true in my group of people that I was involved with. So, yeah, so I came upon a book called In Tune with the Infinite. It was written in 1925 by Ralph Waldo Trine. And I'm just going to read the preface to the first edition, um, because it alludes to at least three of the laws in the Kybalion, which I believe at that time were more common knowledge than they are now. So I'm going to read this. Preface to the first edition. There is a golden thread that runs through every religion in the world. There is a golden thread that runs through the lives and the teachings of all the prophets, seers, sages, and saviors in the world's history, through the lives of all men and women of truly great and lasting power. All that they have ever done or attained to has been done in full accordance with law. What one has done, all may do. This same golden thread must enter into the lives of all who today, in this busy workaday world of ours, would exchange impotence for power, weakness and suffering for abounding health and strength, pain and unrest for perfect peace, poverty of whatever nature for fullness and plenty. Each is building his own world. We both build from within and we attract from without. Thought is the force with which we build, for thoughts are forces. Like builds like, attracts like. In the degree that thought is spiritualized, does it become more subtle and powerful in its workings. This spiritualizing is in accordance with law and is within the power of all. Everything is first worked out in the unseen before it is manifested in the seen, in the ideal before it is realized in the real, in the spiritual before it shows forth in the material. The realm of the unseen is the realm of cause. The realm of the seen is the realm of effect. The nature of effect is always determined and conditioned by the nature of its cause. To point out the great facts in connection with and the great laws underlying the workings of the interior, spiritual thought forces, to point them out so simply and so clearly that even a child can understand is the author's aim. To point them out so simply and so clearly that all can grasp them, that all can take them and infuse them into everyday life, so as to mold it in all its details in accordance with what they would have it, is his purpose. That life can be thus molded by them is not a matter of mere speculation or theory with him, but a matter of positive knowledge. There is a divine sequence running throughout the universe, within and above and below the human. Oh, yeah. The human will incessantly. Oh, sorry. Within and above and below, the human will incessantly works to the divine will. To come into harmony with it, and thereby with all the higher laws and forces, to come then into league and to work in conjunction with them in order that they can work in league and in conjunction with us, is to come into the chain of this wonderful sequence. This is the secret of all success. This is to come into the possession of unknown riches, into the realization of undreamed of powers. Ralph Waldo Trine. So he's definitely talking about at least 3 of the 7 laws in the Kybalion. The all, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect, and the law of vibration, I see in here. So, yeah, and I have some experience with this myself. Like when I was reading it, I was feeling my mind connect with my heart. And I think when he talks about thoughts, I think that's what he was talking about, is thoughts that are conjoined with the heart. I think back maybe in 1925, that was pretty much normal. And now, you know, the dark occult through the media, which they didn't have like, you know, back then, has managed to separate us more from our hearts generally. And it's more difficult for some of us to connect our thoughts to our hearts, our mind to our hearts. But at that time, thought wasn't just here, it was also here. And also in the gut, you know, the triune nature of the 3 in Qigong Dantians, the upper, middle, and lower Dantians are all working together. And that's what a thought would be derived from at this point, what he's talking about. The lost law of care, the 8th law. You know, in this divine pattern here, there are 7 spheres, and then there's an 8th sphere which contains all of them, and that is the lost law of care, which has to do with the mind-heart connection, which the dark occult is trying to separate us from, so that we will take immoral acts without feeling anything. We'll experience the consequences of that in the law of cause and effect, but they basically want us to act from a distracted place so that, you know, we can cause harm to our brothers and sisters and to other sentient beings for profit. And, you know, there's some other underlying motive, you know, whatever it is, whatever their motive is, you know, is it to make this planet ready for the grays to take over or whatever the hell they're doing. Um, but you know, that golden thread, I know anyone who's my age remembers this, but what what gave us that golden thread? And for me, you know, I used to be part of a group of people that did a lot of service in the community. And what was amazing about this was that we had a higher purpose because we weren't in competition with each other, constantly trying to sell shit to each other. We had an innate sense of security in trusting the Creator was going to provide us with what we needed. We were going to get the right connections. We were going to meet the right people. We were going to be open to certain possibilities because we were living according to morality, doing the right thing and helping each other. Things would just fall into place, and we had a faith in that. We had trust in that. And so we were free to just be present with one another 100%. We didn't have the little pocket flask. That's what I call this nowadays. This is like a flask, you know, where if I'm uncomfortable, I can just you know, tune into whatever channel and get a dopamine hit. And it's acceptable in society to bring my little dopamine flask anywhere, in class, in a business meeting, in you know, some other type of spiritual meeting. It's we may say turn off your phone, but there's people that are always on their phone, which gives permission to other people. And you know, we didn't have this back when we were all present with one another. We didn't have a way out. We had to be present with each other. We didn't know that we didn't have that option. And we really don't have that option today because it's stealing from us. This thing is stealing from us, but we don't know it because it feels good to get that dopamine hit. And to me, that was the golden thread, was that, first of all, I didn't have this thing. And second of all, I wasn't constantly trying to sell myself for a profit to every single person I met because I trusted that I was going to get what I needed because of how I was living by moral principle. And I had, and still do, I still do have scruples. I have a whole phone book full of contacts of people that I will never try to sell anything to because that's not what my purpose is with those people. But I can't say that that's true for everyone. And other people try to sell to me all the time, and as well as give me advice. Of course, everybody has advice. And I remember one of my spiritual teachers saying, you know, the worst vice is advice. I think I've talked about this in the past, but again, it destroys the golden thread. Giving advice destroys the golden thread, and there is a something behind it. You know, if I'm sitting there listening to someone tell me their deepest, darkest, or whatever, and I'm sitting here, you know, with the answer for them, what is that about? Can I just not listen? Do I not have faith that they have their own connection to source that will provide for them what they need? And is that not mirroring for me that I do not believe that I have a connection to source? That's the golden thread, is source. That's what he's talking about here, this golden thread, and he's talking about gaining access to it. And I'm curious to find out, you know, what happens in this book, what it's about really. And I looked in the table of contents here, And he is talking about the law of prosperity here, and other things. And I'm gonna go through here and see what he has to say. And I may use this book and other books to continue the deep dive into mentalism. Another interesting source of mentalism exercises I stumbled upon this week also is the gateway process, which, was developed by the Central Intelligence Agency. Robert Monroe of the Monroe Institute. He's innocent in this. I don't think his intention was negligible in any way. But the document on his research was declassified by the CIA, and all of his work, Hemi-Sync, was made available. And it's a great way to take guided meditations and rewire your brain back to brain balance. And I'll put I'm not going to put links, I don't think, because I don't really want, the censorship from YouTube. But um, on Telegram, which is a semi-encrypted chat, you can search Hemi-Sync, and there's like at least 5 or 6 channels that provide Hemi-Sync audio hypnosis for free. That's another way to delve deeply into getting your mind tuned in to the theta brainwave state so that you can have access to the inner power that, as he stated in the preface, is the cause of the effect that you want to see in the world. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, and I will continue to explore mentalism utilizing books from days of old. Until next time.